Hey, it's Dave Bradley Jones from PlayoutONE with another video. This time we're looking at PlayoutONE Pro itself. If you're joining us for the first time, then welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet to our YouTube channel, then please do so. Just go to youtube.com/PlayoutONE, hit that subscribe button, and then anytime we release a new video, you'll be the first to know about it. So this video is going to serve as an overview, really, of what PlayoutONE Pro has to offer. We're not going to go into too much detail. We've saved that for the director's cut video. If you've not seen that, that's about 90 minutes to 2 hours long. That's also on our YouTube channel. This is going to be between 20 and 30 minutes. We'll go over the core bits of PlayoutONE Pro. And then we also have the other videos as well in the What Is series that goes through all the other apps: Auto Importer, Data Controller, File Copy, Live Stream, Monitor, and Webvt. So if you haven't checked those out, then you can do, again, on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/PlayoutONE. Okay, here we go then. So I've got my coffee is ready. It's right here. If you've not got one, then I suggest you hit pause and get one, or maybe open something up a little bit stronger as we take you on this tour of PlayoutONE Pro. So, as you can see in front of you, this is PlayoutONE Pro. This is how the studio looks. We're running this on a virtual machine at the minute in a data center over in Amazon. So, screen size is a little small. Typically, you'd have this on a widescreen 24-inch monitor, or maybe two monitors, so that you can split the screens up however you wish. Now, what you're seeing in front of you here, we have the media finder over on the left. We have the log over on the right. We have the on-air dashboard, which is showing us what is currently playing right now and gives easy access to that big play button there to start the system off again if it's in a stop down. And then we've got the players, the 4 players at the bottom. By default, the log uses only the first 3 players. The 4th is reserved for anything you want to use it for, dragging stuff in, pre-fading, that sort of thing. However, you can make the log use all 4 as well if you wish to. As you can see on the log, there are the numbers there. They indicate which player the items are going to play in. So I can see that the Powered by PlayoutONE Sweep 2 is going to play in Player 1 next, followed by Johnny Hates Jazz in Player 2, and then the Super Shot 6 back in Kart Player 3. So that's how that works, if you're wondering what those numbers are. Let's go take a look at the media finder first, as that's generally where most items start their life in PlayoutONE Pro. Either you've added something in manually, or you've auto-ingested something through our auto importer. First thing to say is the media finder, again, can be resized to however you want it to be. So I can make this really big if I want to, or I can tuck it away nicely so it fits in with everything else just here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to search for something. So let's search for Elton John. And that's how easy it is to search. That search result is going to look through the title, the artist, the year, category, the notes in the system, and return me back anything with the word Elton in it. So if we have a little look further down here, let's find a song we're familiar with. There we go, Candle in the Wind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this, and it's going to take me into the edit audio window. This is where we set all our markers, whether they be the intro marker for marking where the vocal starts, the extra marker, which is where the next item starts after this in the log. That's the red icon that you can see right there. Little word to mention here. When you import something into PlayoutONE, automatically we set that extra mark for you. The reason we do that is we've all been in the radio studio or in the office where we've been listening to something and then all of a sudden it fades to silence and then there's a big gap and then the next item starts. So by default, PlayoutONE will automatically mark that extra based on a reference point for you automatically. You can, of course, turn that off if you want to, but we ship it with that setting turned on by default. In here, you'll see all the details that you can set. Of course, the title, the artist, category. If you're a music master customer, then we are fully Nexus compliant. So you can change the category here, and it changes over in the Music Master database as well. You can also make changes to title, artist, and they will also be pumped back to Music Master and changed there too. Similarly, we also offer the same functionality with Music One as well. So those two systems come with some really nice tight integration. More on that a little bit later. Now, a quick word on the type. Everything in PlayoutONE has to have a type. So by default, we ship 5 types with PlayoutONE. They are song, production, commercials, voice tracks, and commands. Now, you can add more as you wish. However, those are the main 5 that you'll need and most things belong to. So this is a song, so it's in the song type. We'll show you the type manager a little bit later. Just remember types, because types have different properties associated with them. One is the color that everybody asks. How do we change the colors? The colors are associated to the type manager, although you can color individual items. So that's really, really quite important. Another is the UID. The UID in PlayoutONE, that's our cart number, if you like. And that can be alphanumeric up to 10 characters. So it doesn't have to just be numerical. It can be alphanumeric as well. Siphoning through the options tab here, we've got another set of options that we can choose to either pitch or tempo change this particular item. We have a LUFS offset. Now, what is LUFS, I hear you saying? LUFS is our normalization standard. It's actually a standard, I believe. Oh, you're going to put me on the spot now. I could be completely wrong, but I think it's the R128 standard. That's the official name. However, most people know it as Lufs. And it's basically a perceived loudness value. So what you will do in PlayoutONE Pro is you will say, I would like all my items to play back roughly at this level. And then when you import something into PlayoutONE, the normalization process goes, okay, to achieve that level that you've set, we need to either increase or decrease the song to hit that level. And so that's what Lufs is. That's what the normalization mode is within PlayoutONE. And here you can set a further offset. So if you're thinking, oh, that song, system has said that it should boost it by 1 dB. However, I think it actually needs to be 2. You can tweak it a little bit here as well. You can set the colors individually on this particular item from within here. We also have the ability to set kill dates as well. Moving through the audio window here, the edit audio window, we have the notes section, so we can type in some notes about this item, and they're available in the log and also in Webvt. So I'm going to just write great song. Rotates. Yes, next. If you're familiar with other systems that deal with rotate carts, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, well, a rotate cart is simply a cart within a cart. So let me give you a practical example. Let's take, for example, promos. Now, what happens generally is there'll be a promos category in the music scheduler system, and they'll be scheduled along with the music. And that can be sometimes, a week, maybe 2 weeks over Christmas. So they can be scheduled on, say, the 20th, right the way through until the 4th of January. Well, if you want to change those promos, or maybe you want to add one onto the system, it's a little difficult. You've either got to go through the log manually and change them, or you've got to go, hey, Mr. Music Scheduler, please can you rerun your music logs? And if you've ever asked a music scheduler to do that, they're not really quite happy doing that, especially if it's just to add a single promo. So what you can do instead is you can create what we call the parent rotate cart. And that's the cart number that you give to the scheduler. Let's just keep it simple. Let's say that's cart number 1. And then the scheduler schedules cart number 1, and they're completely happy with that. And that's what will be sent to PlayoutONE. Hey, PlayoutONE, play cart number 1. Now, when PlayoutONE comes to look at this cart, it goes, ooh, this is a rotator. And so what we need to do is we need to go and have a look at what carts are inside this cart and then actually play that item. So let's pretend cart 2, 3, and 4 are inside our rotator cart. And those are the carts that are going to be played. So let me demonstrate that quickly. I'm going to just close down the edit audio window for a minute. And I'm going to go to our rotators by simply clicking this R icon. So here's a rotator for sweepers and dry shots. So if we open up this particular cart, you'll see that there's no audio because it's the parent cart. You'll see that it's enabled as a rotator, and then underneath are all these little carts here. So when that comes to be scheduled, it's going to play one of these instead. Now, this comes in really useful when you're using rotates in a promo sense. Let's pretend you have a morning show promo or a drive time promo. What you can do is you can bundle these all into one single promo rotate, and then you can day part them. You can even add start dates and end dates. really handy for Christmas, Easter, and other festivities. So I can say, for example, okay, my morning show promo, I don't want it coming around in the morning show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block it all out and say only play that from midday onwards. And that would take effect immediately. So the great thing about rotates are just that. They're immediate. Well, within 2 hours. So you can have a new rotate on the system within 2 hours, even though the music scheduler has scheduled 2 weeks in advance. It's a really great use of PlayoutONE Pro. We have a lot of customers using it because they do like it. Let's take a look at something else then. Let's go back to that song. Can I remember the cart number for Candle? No, me either. Let's just go back to it that way. So splits and commands tab, this allows us to actually not just have a piece of audio on an item, but we can have a command on an item. So you may have a command scheduled in the log to, I don't know, turn a piece of hardware on, switch a satellite, trigger a recording, something like that. That's what the commands tab does. Copyright, all your usual suspects in here. Metadata, if Elton was doing a tour of, I'm in Winnipeg, Canada, I don't think he's going to be coming here anytime soon, but if he was, we could change all the metadata on our Elton songs to say, Elton's here tonight. Grab your tickets from classichits.com. So that gives you some real flexibility in changing the metadata on the items. So instead of artist-title, you get something custom. Finally, command markers. We can actually trigger within this piece of audio, if we want to, commands. So just as before, we can actually have a whole cart as a command. In the edit audio window here, we can say, hey, actually, when you get to this point, please trigger our satellite or please trigger this. So that's how the edit audio window works in its basic form. Some buttons at the top here. These allow you to import audio. So if we were to click this folder icon, we can go and select a file to replace Elton John with. We won't do that though. We've also got an option to record into the system. So we can record directly using our microphone. We can normalize the file again if we want to after we've imported it. Or we can cycle left, cycle right down the audio, down the media finder, should I say, to the next item. But for now, I'm just going to click the cross and I'm going to take a slurp of coffee. Okay, coffee slurped. On to the next bit of the media finder. Let's clear out the search. So we've got everything again. You'll see these little bookmarks. These are fantastic. These are just like your bookmarks in Google Chrome or in Firefox. And what these allow you to do is simply recall saved views of the media finder. So if we select core, for example, this is bringing back all the songs in our core category. We've got one here for Spice. We've got one here for Elton. We've saved an Elton list. So here's all our Elton songs. These are really cool, and you can set as many up as you wish. You simply add them, and then you have the multiple pages here to cycle through them. So really quite useful. Some other buttons across the top here. I'm just going to show you quickly. We've got the wonderful bulk operations. This allows us to multi-select a lot of carts in the media finder and then change en masse either their dates and times. We can run functions such as normalizing, auto-extraing, changing colors, all that kind of stuff. So really quite useful. Another useful function within PlayoutONE Pro is let's go and select this Meatloaf song here. Let's pretend we're going to add this into this log. So we're looking at currently 3 o'clock on Monday, the 28th of December. If I click the I here, what I'm going to get is a wonderful little snapshot of whether it's a good idea or not to play Meatloaf. The green asterisk is telling us the actual song, and then the yellow pound or hash key is telling us the artist, Meatloaf. So looking at this right now today, we've played no Meatloaf, and we are not going to play any Meatloaf for the rest of the day. The last time we played Meatloaf was at 5 o'clock yesterday. The next time we're going to play Meatloaf, and in fact this song, Dead Ringer for Love, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So based on that, I think it's a good choice to play Meatloaf, and I'm going to do it. So I'm going to just drag him straight into the log. So there we go. That's how you add things to the log. A nice segue there. Here is the log. Here is the log. So you'll notice that I just dragged straight into the log here. There was no loading, no saving. That's because there is none in PlayoutONE Pro. So if I scroll down the log here, we're looking at 4 o'clock. Let's go have a look at 10 o'clock tonight. So here is 10 o'clock. And we can see all the songs we're playing at 10 o'clock tonight. Now, just because we're looking at 10 o'clock doesn't mean the system is now going to automatically jump and play 10 o'clock. No, 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 no. It knows where it's up to, what it's got to play, and will just continue on. We can mess around with this log, so we can delete these things here. We can delete that. We can put something else in here. We could voice track if we wanted to. If we had the facility in the studio to record whilst we were on the air as well, we could pull up the voice tracker here and we could start recording. All while the system's currently playing out the 3 o'clock hour. Pretty cool, hey? Now, all these changes I've made, again, there's no save button. If you were looking at this in another studio or you were looking at this on Webvt, you would see these changes all happen in front of your eyes. There's no loading, no saving. You'll see that the different colors here in the log, we've got songs are in gray, we've got the production in this this burnt orange, and then commands show in white with a little C around them. We've got a hook next 3 songs command here. What this does, this is really cool. Before each ad break, it's going to play you the hooks of the next 3 songs in reverse order. So it's going to play a little sweeper that goes, coming up next on Classic Hits. And then it will play the hook of Pulp, the hook of Bob Marley, and the hook of this song that I've never heard of. There you go. But nice little feature. A lot of CHR stations like this save someone making 24,000 of these every night and uploading them into the log. You'll also see we've got traffic merge points here. This is how we ingest and merge traffic from every major traffic system on the planet. You will put in the music log a traffic merge point and a traffic merge endpoint. And then it's as simple as the traffic director running the traffic logs and the ads just jump in the middle there. This is really, 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 really helpful around Christmas when the music scheduler has scheduled 14 days worth of logs. Jocks can get in, program controllers can get in and start messing with the logs, putting their voice tracks in, building their hours. They don't have to wait for traffic to run their log as well, because the merge happens within PlayoutONE. You can also receive an email from PlayoutONE when the traffic's gone in, and it will tell you if there's any missing copy. Really quite useful, so that you can make sure no commercials have been missed. In fact, we can run that manually from here and from Webvt, but I'm going to click the little flag here to run the missing report. Let's run one for today and see if there's anything missing. Here comes the report. Yes, there is 4 o'clock today. The UID test does not exist within PlayoutONE. Okay, well, let's go and have a look at that and see how it looks in the system. I'm going to hit home here, and that's now going to take me back to what is currently on the air right now. Now, it said 4 o'clock, so I'm just going to scroll down slowly. And let's see when we hit that missing. Oh, there it is. Nice and obvious. So you see there, missing audio test. Nice little warning sign there. And so you see straight away how a piece of missing audio looks. So we would have had that email sent to us the night before. Or, in fact, no, this is a Monday. So we would have had it sent to us on the Friday. So the log can be fixed and that spot would not be missing. So really quite useful. As we roll through the log here, you'll see that some items have got dates and times underneath them. That is coming in from File Copy and Auto Importer. So we are downloading our Showbiz headlines via File Copy. Check the video out on that. It's then imported via Auto Importer. Check the video out on that. And then when it's imported, Auto Importer is stamping the date and time that it imported. So we can be sure that this is the correct piece of audio. Looking down here, I can see that this absolutely is the right piece of audio because it was imported a little over an hour ago. We're probably going to see that update in the next 3 minutes or so. So we'll come back to that and check it in a minute. Let's just have a look at it in the seg editor though. Here it is. Let's just zoom out a little bit so we can see how it looks. So PlayoutONE has the ability to mix content over beds. So you may have a headlines bed that we have here. And you can see that the volume gets ducked automatically. And then when the next item is due to play, because the headlines news bulletin is finished, the bed is automatically faded out. Let me show you something a little bit better. Let's have a look at the sport bed here and the sport bulletin. We'll roll this out a little bit so you can see. There you go. So you can see that the bed is longer than the sport bulletin, but PlayoutONE knows intelligently that when we start the next item, which is going to be the travel bed, fade off the sport bed, please. And all this can be set up. If you want to know how, if you just search in our help document section, help.playoutone.com, just search for playing news over bed, and you should find the document. Okay, let's talk about markers, because, okay, this is fantastic. We've got our login, but how do we keep the log on time? Well, I'm going to snap back to home, and I'm just going to scroll down here, because you'll find at the end of each hour, we have programmed what we call a soft marker. Now, you can have one of three markers in PlayoutONE. You can have soft markers, hit markers, and gap markers. Let me start with the soft marker. So the soft marker has a time on it. The time is 3:59:59. And what it's going to do is at 3:59:59, it'll look at what's playing and it'll say, okay, you continue playing. However, anything between me, the soft marker, and you, i.e. what's playing, will not be played. It'll be deleted. So we can see that in force here right now. Here's the soft marker. There's Dead Ringer for love, for love even. You can see this item starts literally 5 seconds before the soft marker. So Junior, Mama used to say, that's not going to get to play, unfortunately. However, we're gonna allow Meatloaf, Dead Ringer for love, to play in its entirety all the way through. Now, if I was to change this to be a hit marker, what's going to happen now at 3:59:59 is Meatloaf, because it will be playing, will be faded immediately. So we're going to get 5 seconds of Meatloaf, and then we're going to go to the next item after the hit marker, which is going to be this hook next 3 songs command. So the hit marker, really useful for when you need to hit that junction on time. We've got to hit that news bulletin. We've got to get to that top of hour. It's a clock start. This is when you'll need a hit marker. So very, 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 very useful indeed. The last one we've got is a gap marker. So if I insert a gap marker here, gap marker has no effect whatsoever. As you can see, Junior, Mama used to say, now queued up. Well, yeah, we're good to play that because we've got a gap marker in instead. Gap marker simply is for timing only. And if you look at the top, you can see we've got a gap of 7:48. That's just giving us some timings, giving us a little bit of a heads up that we're 7 minutes and 48 over the top of the hour. It's not going to fade anything off. It's not going to destroy the log or anything like that. It's just there to give us a reference point. I'm going to put that back to a soft marker, otherwise we'll be way over. So there we go, soft marker. And you can see Junior now has been grayed out. There's no air times and there's no player indicator next to it to tell us it's not going to play. So that's how we deal with markers. Let's just go back to the 4 o'clock hour, shall we? Let's just roll down a little bit and check to see if our showbiz has been updated. Yes, it has. 3:56:26. That was literally a couple of minutes ago. So that's how you know that you've got the latest news, sport and weather, etc. in there. Right, let's hit home again. This time, I'm going to show you how we delete something from the log. Dead simple. Little delete button here. You hit it. Now, what happens is it grays out Meatloaf. Meaning, if we think, no, actually, we didn't want to do that. We want to bring it back. We just hit the trash can again, and it brings it back. If you really don't want to play Meatloaf, then you can right-click, choose Edit, and we can execute what we call a hard delete. And that gets rid of Meatloaf completely out of the log. So there it is. It's gone, not coming back. If we roll back up the log, we can see exactly what we played. Note here, you can't modify the log once an item's played. It's locked in time for the reconciliation purposes. That's it. It's done with. You can't destroy it. You can't alter history, as they say. Some other functions in the log. Let's just hit home again, so we can keep an eye on what we're doing. You know what? I'm going to get rid of. No, I'm going to change this to a hit marker. Let's give our wonderful listeners about 5 seconds of Junior, and we'll watch that happen in just a second. Some other little functions here. You've got a pre-fade button here. So if I right-click on this, I get the end of the song. If I left-click, I get the start of the song. So really quite useful there for pre-fading items in the log. We're going to touch on these chain commands in a little while, because that is all to do with if you run the log in automation or live assist. So we'll come on to that in just a second. You got the option here to insert a social media post. So we can insert a Facebook or a Twitter post. So instead of playing a piece of audio, we could actually tweet something. You can do this within Webvt as well. Really, really useful if you're voice tracking a show. Not only do you get the audio presence on the air, you can also have a social media presence as well by inserting Twitter and Facebook posts into the log directly. Now we're coming up to our hit marker here. We are roughly around 20 seconds away, so let's just take a slurp of coffee and watch what happens. Mama Junior Giscombe is going to play, and then 5 seconds later it's going to be binned off, deleted, faded, goodbye, and then the hook next 3 songs command is going to play, and you'll see what happens with those. So here we go. Here comes Junior. Goodbye, Junior. Nice knowing you. And there we go. Off goes our hook next 3 songs. So we're playing the hooks of Carrie Underwood, Maria, someone. Oh, I missed that. And Paul Young, I guess. There it is. And then off into the to the news intro. There goes the news in. I'm just going to get rid of the voice tracking widget just for the time being. And what will happen now is the news in will continue to play as it's a bed. The news will fire. Then we'll get the weather bed, and the weather bulletin as well. So that's how all that's working. While all that's happening, let's just take a look at some other functions. So let's pretend we don't want to play Paul Young, even though we've just teased him. But how many of you have teased a song and gone, oh no, I'm not going to be able to play that? One of those situations right now. So we have a little replace from same category button here. So we can click this, and it's going to give us all the songs in the core category in the most rested order. Now, if you have if you're using Music Master, instead of PlayoutONE giving you this list, Music Master will be queried by PlayoutONE. Hey, Music Master, give us the best song for this position. And Music Master will send back a list of songs. So really quite useful. Do you know what? I'm going to play Carly Simon. Nobody does it better. We'll insert that into the log. There it is. You can also do replace from same artist. So any other Carly Simon songs? Yeah, let's play Why, shall we? Yeah, I prefer that one instead. That's now in the log. Again, these changes are all happening in real time. So if the PD was looking at this from home on Webvt, they would have just clocked that you just changed that. So bear that in mind. It is going to show up everywhere. Now we're into the 4 o'clock hour, and you can see that our next marker is a 59:59 soft marker. And the gap currently, wow, we're 3 minutes and 30 under. So we need to do some talking. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a link after Carly Simon and Why. Now let's talk about this quickly. Right now we're in automation. How do we know we're in automation? Well, the auto button is turned on. That's that little green icon up there. You see it? Yep. That means when we're in auto, the songs just keep on going. It's like putting your car in drive. It's just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. If we want to do a link, we want to talk. First of all, I'm going to delete this sweeper because we don't want to talk into the sweeper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to disengage auto. Now, 2 things are going to happen. 1, if there is a stop sign on Carly Simon, then we're going to be warned that it's going to stop. And you can see that Carly Simon is now flashing red at us, saying, hey, it's going to stop. It's going to stop. It's going to stop. We can change this, though. We can change it to a green, a bit like a traffic light. Now, even though we're out of auto, we've actually put this on a green chain. And that means Carly Simon, even though we're not in auto, she's still going to continue to play, and then she'll play Carrie Underwood, or she'll cue Carrie Underwood right afterwards. So you have the option here to really decide how you want to play it. Do you want to just control everything by the auto button, in which case you will just toggle between auto and non-auto to stop your log? Or do you want to run things a little bit differently? Do you want to actually have, green, 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 and I'm going to stop here. and have the system do it automatically for you. It's totally up to you. What we've got here is really two ways of doing things. We've got the European way generally, where this is the kind of way that the Europeans like to do things. We like to set up the green chain and then make sure we put a stop in the log when we want it to stop. Over in North America, if you're coming from a Scott Studio system, for example, you'll be well averse to the auto button. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it this way for now. So you can see Carly Simon's going to stop. You'll see the auto button has gone from green to amber. And when it shows amber, what it means is that when I press play, or I trigger a play from my satellite or my button on the desk via Axia or Wheatstone, it's going to re-engage auto straight afterwards, so I don't have to click it. If that was white, it would not engage auto automatically. I'd have to go and click it myself. Again, this is a setting you can turn on in the database. So again, really quite useful. Now we're out of auto also, you'll see these extra little counters. So we have the next stop counter that's just appeared saying, hey, this is going to stop in 23 seconds, 22 seconds. So it's that extra warning light to tell you that something's about to happen. So here we go. We'll just wait this next 10 seconds and then we will trigger a play next and see what happens. Quick slurp of coffee time. Oh, yes. Okay, there we go. Carly Simon and Why on Classic Hits. There goes the extra, so we'll just wait for that to finish. System's not going to advance on now. It's going to stop and wait for us to do something. So if we're doing a quick speed link here, we can see we've got an intro of 4 seconds on Carrie Underwood. So let's hit the play button. In comes the intro, and we can say, here is Carrie Underwood on Classic Hits. Oh, I crashed it. Totally crashed it. Totally crashed it. Oh, dear. Anyway, you'll see auto has now been re-engaged because we had that setting turned on. So that's how the log works. General overview of the log and how it can be really used to have some fun. Let's show you some other things within PlayoutONE Pro. Right, so the heart up here, these are your quick keys. Hurrah, the quick keys. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to float these here for now so we can see the log, the media finder, and the quick keys. Generally, you'd have these on a second screen. Works really well with a touchscreen because what you can do is you can just click them and they play. And then you click them again and they fade off. So you can click as many as you want at once. There we go. Ooh, big wall of sound. Luckily, we've got a fade all and a stop button here, so I'm going to stop all those. There we go. Now, you can have as many quick keys. Well, I say many quick keys. There is a maximum amount of 100 buttons you can have at once on a quick key page. So not too bad. You can have as many as 1 to 100. So here's a quick key set called Hello, and it's got 2 on it. You can make as many of these sets as you want to. So by default, here is the default page, and it's 25, 5 by 5. Let's go and edit Radio Gaga. So we can edit the key. We can change the font on this, so we can go really quite bold and stand out. We can change the title to be just Queen. There. Let's change the color to be green and black. We can set a custom fade out time here. We can play just the hook of the item. We can change the volume if we want. We can also program this key to trigger a stop of other keys if we want. Useful for playing a bed and then maybe, an outstab. When you hit the outstab, it fades the bed. You know, that sort of thing. So you can really have some fun with it. If I hit save, there we go. Queen in big letters. I can move this. I can put this here. If I want to drag this into the log, should we play this next? And just pick it up and drag it straight into the log like so. If we want to add something to it, we just pick something up from the media finder and then we just drop it onto the quick keys like so. Again, we can make this as sizable as we want. There we go. Full size quick keys. We don't need those though. Let's get rid of them. So they are the quick keys. Quick keys are also available in Webvt for when you're using live mic. Really quite useful. All right, let's have a little look in the launcher. This is the PlayoutONE launcher. This is where you'll find some other little goodies. One being the type manager. Remember, we talked about the type manager early on in this video. So here's all our types. We can attribute colors to these. We can attribute volume that the type plays out at, whether that item or that type is sent to the billboard for metadata. We can globally set the pitch and tempo across all the types. We have some run to time features here. Run to time basically allows you to insert a command at the top of the log, and then using a combination of fading, stretching, and dropping, the hour will be perfectly timed to 60 minutes or to the next marker. Duck volumes here, so we can set, for example, on voice tracks, anything playing underneath a voice track ducks to 35% so that they don't get drowned out. And then you've got some metadata overrides here, royalty report types, etc. All of these items can be, you can read more of them, should I say, on our help section, help.playoutone.com. Let's go and have a look at the command manager just quickly. So this is where all of the commands are pre-built. So lots of commands in here that we can select from. We can add parameters to them. We can give them a friendly name. And that means then that they can be called back via a data controller setup or a satellite receiver or a GPIO, something like that. Again, help.playoutone.com is the place to go to read all about those commands. Finally, settings. Lots of settings. So you can password protect this, stop someone getting in there and making a nuisance of themselves. We can set the logo, so the Classic Hits logo here, the station name. Most of these settings will be set up by your PlayoutONE engineer when they set up the system. However, you may need to go in here to enable a PlayoutONE keyboard that you may have purchased from our store. If you haven't checked those out, playoutone.com, have a look in the store. Fantastic little keyboard that goes really, really, really quite well with PlayoutONE. We've got settings in here to change thresholds. So when we need to fade out, when we need to detect that wonderful extra point automatically. We've got the Lufs Normalization playback level here. So by default, it will be -16, whether you want to normalize automatically on import. In here, there's lots of options for billboard, for changing the colors, the theming. You can have a light theme or a dark theme. You can even enable automatic switching. You can enable switching at sunrise and sunset if you want to. Runtime commands in here we can change if we need to fill with something, where we actually fill from. We've got the hardware panel here, so we can set up each audio device. So by default, PlayoutONE can output all players to one output device, or you can have different ones. If you've got 4 faders on the desk, then you can map each player to a different fader, different input channels, all that sort of stuff. Log settings here. Again, all these can be, you can find out what they do by going to help.playoutone.com and searching in there. PlayoutONE can be part of a split or a multi-station site. So with a split environment, you can have the studio version, and then the ads can be on separate PlayoutONEs so that you can sell different adverts for different areas, but have the one common music log. So when we press the adverts, it triggers the other PlayoutONEs to play their commercials. That's an advanced setup. Requires a little bit of configuring, but it's certainly possible within PlayoutONE. Also, you have the ability here to enable all the various different APIs and ports. In the SQL tab here, this is where you set the SQL database. This is where also isolation mode is enabled or disabled. You can also have it activate automatically. Really, really cool isolation mode. It basically means that if the server dies, PlayoutONE can continue running from itself for up to 12 hours. Really, really quite cool. Finally, here is where you will administer all your Webvt users. So if we go into Webvt user administration here, we can go and edit our CTO, Chris's profile, and we can say, I'm sorry, Chris, you can't have access to edit audio or social media. You're a bad social media poster, so you can't have access to that. We can save that. He's going to go mental. And that's how that is set. There's also some features in here to do with the live mic, and also for editing that station whiteboard in Webvt. That can be done within the settings here as well. Finally, I just want to touch about some settings on the top here. We've got the weather. So this is configured within PlayoutONE Monitor, updates automatically. So if we hover over this, we'll get a little tooltip telling us there's a clear sky in New York tonight, 47 Fahrenheit right now across the wonderful Big Apple. We've got a clock here. We've got some other little icons at the top on this side. Automation we've covered. On air, whether this system is the on-air machine. To swap studios, it's very simple. You just go into another PlayoutONE. You click on air from where you want to be, and it will say, hey, do you want to make me the on-air machine? Yes, I do. This machine will go off air. It will continue to play its current playing item, and then it'll stop, waiting for you to then go on air and press play on the other machine. Really is quite wonderful. Keyboard, whether you've connected a PlayoutONE keyboard to this system. Splits, whether we are performing split commands on this system. And then we've touched on the wonderful heart for showing the quick keys. Better make those smaller. We touched on the log. So if we close the log, we can bring the log back open again. And also similarly, we have the media finder. We can bring that back open as well, simply by pressing the little musical note icon there to bring back the media finder. Just finally, I want to touch on how this sort of system works. Generally, as I say, you would run this in a client-server model. So you'd have a server. And when we're talking about server, if it's just 1-2 stations, you don't need a big, great, big server that takes 2 men to put into a rack. No. Just 2 machines. One is the playout machine, one is the server. Now, those machines, they do need to be good machines. We're talking i7, so the brand new Intel machines, 16 gigs of RAM, Windows 10 Pro. And also, when you do go for those processors, those Intel processors, make sure the numbers after the Intel i7 start with an 8. That's an 8th generation. Anything less than that, it's not going to work, I'm afraid. We also do support the Ryzen 7s as well. So if you're looking at the AMD stuff, Ryzen 7, 3rd, 4th generation, they're fantastic. Really good as well. 16 gig of RAM though, as I say. Why do you need so much power in these machines? Because they're doing a lot. They are doing a lot. Your server will be hosting all the apps, the Webvt, the auto importer, the file copy, the live stream, the monitor program. And then your studio, it will be doing the most important thing in your radio station. It will be playing the audio, making sure everything is great. So you don't want to overtax that machine. At times, it may have to also run from itself in isolation mode. So the rule of thumb is you buy 2 machines, one acts as a server, one acts as the studio machine, both exactly the same configuration. Now you can run it, and we have plenty of customers doing this, all on one box as we're doing right now. However, you do need to up the spec a little bit. You do need to add maybe a bit more RAM in there. You do need to make sure you're using, for example, solid state drives rather than spinning drives. Talk to us about it and we'll recommend the best course of action. You can run this in a virtual environment. We're running this right now on a virtual environment. However, again, you need to make sure the hardware is good enough. It matches the spec of something that you were to buy off the shelf physically. The machines, the workstations at Amazon are fantastic. Similarly, you have, I think, similar specs at Microsoft as well. If you're buying from somewhere else, just let us know first and we'll tell you whether the specs are good enough. Now, I believe we've gone over our allotted time. That's not unusual for me to overshoot the end of the hour and go to the news late. So apologies on that. If you have any further questions, though, please do visit help.playoutone.com. There's plenty of videos on there about the other apps: auto importer, data controller, file copy, monitor, live stream, Webvt. They all come as part of the PlayoutONE suite of programs. If, however, you just want to talk to someone, you want to pick up the phone, ask a specific question, then please do. You'll find all the contact details for us on our website, playoutone.com. Thanks for watching, hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to speak to you very soon.